When I was in high school, me and my sister Kristen used to stay up late all the time talking about our lives and planning them out in detail. The plan was that we were both going to be famous models and play in the WNBA. Well, I never ended up modeling, but I did play in the WNBA for 6 years, and now as a coach here at Virginia Tech, hopefully I can help others do the same. Kristen played basketball in college, and she never went pro, but the modeling career she started there turned into a TV career, and now she's on air for Fox. So I guess you could say we both got to live half of our dream and then experience the other half vicariously through each other. Those late-night planning sessions were the beginning of something we would eventually call the Have It All Plan. The Have It All Plan basically says that you can be smart, pretty, successful, have amazing relationships, and have it all at the same time. So many people want to tell us that we can only be so much, like we can't be smart if we're pretty. We can't be feminine and athletic, or have a successful career and great relationships, but Kristen and I always wanted to have it all. Of course, there's a lot that comes in between planning it out and making it happen. There's the struggle and heartbreak and people who don't want to see you make it and whatever else. But there were times in my life that I was going through all of that, and I had someone to talk to who had been through a lot of it already, and I found that it made it so much easier for me while going through it. And then there were other times when I didn't have someone like that to talk to, and it made it difficult. As I started to get some of the things on my Have It All Plan list, I started to think about some of the girls that were still going through the things that I had already been through. And I just felt like I needed to help make that journey easier for them. That's how I came up with Call Me Miss. Call Me Miss is an idea based on my belief that with the right support, we really can have it all. I was telling one of my players about it the other day, and she was like, well, why do you say call me miss? Well, because how do you feel when someone calls you miss? You feel young, but not so young that you're childish. You feel cute, but not too cute that you can never be sexy. And smart. Smart enough to know that what they see isn't all you have to offer the world. That is what Call Me Miss stands for. Yes, even though so much around us is selling sex, being a young lady is about so much more than that. It's learning how to feel beautiful when society has all these images of beauty that don't look like you, or when your own image of beauty doesn't look like you. It's wanting people to like you and then wishing you didn't care so you could just be you, or figure out who you is. And of course, there's wanting to be great at something, anything, but then being scared that you won't be good enough to make great happen. Yes, being a young lady can be crazy, but sometimes the smallest insight can make a huge difference. I was checking into my hotel the other day, and there was a girl in front of me, and she had her hair curled and pinned up, and she was wearing this beautiful turquoise dress. It looked like her and the guy she was with had just come from a school dance or something, and they were trying to decide if they were going to get a room or not. And I could tell they had been trying to decide for a while because Martha, the lady that was working behind the front desk, shot me a look like, please just bear with me for a second. And then after a couple of minutes, she asked them if they wanted to step aside so that she could check me in while they were figuring it all out. And I looked at the girl's face, and I could tell that she was really conflicted about her decision. And then the guy leaned over and whispered something in her ear and went outside for a second. And at that point, I wanted to scream, no, don't listen. I know you feel like you're already here and you can't say no, but you can. Of course, I wasn't going to scream at a stranger like a crazy person. So instead, I said, you know, if there's a question about it, the answer should probably be no. And she looked surprised that I had said anything, and then I just took my key, and I said, have a good night, and went to my room. So I get to my room, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, did she say yes? Did she say no? What happened? And I couldn't stand not knowing, and so I waited about 15 minutes, and I went back to ask Martha. And as soon as Martha saw me, she was like, oh my gosh, I was just about to call you. It turns out I was the third person she had let go in front of that couple because she wanted the girl to say no too. And after I said what I said, the girl just stood there thinking about it for a second. And then she took out her phone and right in front of Martha posted on her Facebook wall, if there's a question about it, the answer should probably be no. Then, when the guy came back in, she said, I'm not getting a room, I'm going home, and left. Oh my gosh. Me and Martha were so excited, it made my whole entire week. I went and posted on my Facebook wall about it right away. So many times we get in situations that we feel like we can't get out of, but really we can if we don't worry about what people will think about what we decide. Respect above approval. By saying what I said to that young lady, I gave her permission to do what she knew she needed to do for herself anyway, without worrying about what the guy thought of it. So often, we're so desperate for other people's approval because we don't feel like we're enough on our own. I remember one time I was getting my hair done, and my beautician had just taken my weave out. And I know my friend is in the back of the room like, this girl is not talking about weave in her TED Talk. But anyway, so my hair was really damaged, and my beautician was like, you need to just cut it all off and wear it short, let your hair rest so it can grow back healthier. And right as soon as she said that, I thought, oh my gosh, I can't do that. Then I won't be pretty. And that thought kind of caught me off guard, and I had to check myself for a second, like, hold up, so the only reason I feel pretty is because I have this long fake hair down my back? And right then, because of a belief I didn't even know I had before, I told her, cut it off right now, just cut it off. And she did, and I wore it like that for a while. And even though I didn't have long hair, my smile was the same, and my cheekbones, and my freckles, which are my favorite, were the same. And I felt fabulous. There is power in confronting the negative beliefs we have about ourselves. You'll never fix what you keep ignoring. I mean, I still wear weave, obviously, but even though I wear it, now I know I can feel pretty without it, and that makes all the difference. Of course, getting to that point is a process. We all have to take small steps in learning to appreciate who we are as we are. Because confidence doesn't mean you never have insecurities. Confidence is taking action despite those insecurities. One of the things that makes it so hard for us to be confident is when we're constantly comparing ourselves to others. We're always looking at where she is and what she's doing and comparing it to what we have and what we're doing. But that's so not productive. A few years ago on Twitter, I met this young lady named Miracle, and we were going back and forth, and the more we talked, the more I started to notice that she was talking down on herself and being a little bit negative, and so I hit her up, and I was like, hey, stop it. Be confident. Talk nice to yourself. And she kind of came back at me like, well, Chantelle, if I was you, it'd be easy to be confident, but I'm not, and you have no idea what I go through. And I was like, well, hey, you're right. Why don't you tell me? Maybe I can help. And so we went back and forth on email for a little while, and she told me some of the things that she had been through and was going through, and I got to admit, it was pretty rough. I could totally understand why she was struggling. So I said, Miracle, first of all, thank you for trusting me enough to tell me all of that. So let me tell you a little bit about my story. And I told her about my background, which was very similar to what she had just told me, almost on a case-by-case basis. And I said, Miracle, I know you see me as someone that has everything together, but I told you that because it hasn't always been like that. It's still not always like that. But I know you can be like me if you want to, because I was you. I was exactly there. It's so important that we don't compare ourselves to others, even when it seems like they're way ahead of us, because you never know what they were on the way to becoming who you see. So many times we want to wish that we were somebody else, but somebody else wishes they were us, wishes they had what we have. The key is you just can't quit before you get there. And you definitely can't keep kicking yourself on the way. Now Miracle is a sophomore in college. She's beautiful and confident, getting great grades, and I'm so proud of her. She's like my little sister, and sometimes I think about all the things she would have missed if she would have continued to believe that what she had been through and what she went through prevented her from being amazing. As you can see, Call Me Miss represents so many things about being a young lady. So what's next? My ultimate goal is to build a team of women who are old enough to have been there, done that, and remained fabulous through it all, but young enough to still understand and relate to young ladies. We're not going to give them cookie cutter answers. We know that a lot of times they don't want to go ask their parents because they think their parents won't understand, and they'll just be like, no, don't do that. But then they can't go and ask their friends because their friends are asking the same questions they are, and we don't know, they don't know any more than we do, and it's just like, golly, where do I go? Call Me Miss will be like having that big sister who went away to college, experienced some things, came back, and is like, don't do that, do this. Or do this instead. Sometimes you need someone to be straight up with you, to tell you that he'll stay longer if he knows your mind is as interesting as your body is sexy. Or that everyone won't like you, but who you are has to be enough for you even when it's not enough for them. Call Me Miss will be like that advice they need from people who you want to listen to. When I was in high school, one of the reasons I knew I could be everything that I wanted to be was because of a poster of Lisa Leslie I had on my wall. I knew I could be tall and pretty, feminine and a baller, and successful at anything I wanted to do. And I knew that because she already was. So similarly, in a little bit more active fashion, the next thing on my Have It All plan is to help other ambitious, talented young ladies with their Have It All plan. This will not be the last time you hear about Call Me Miss. I am so excited about this new little project. But until the next time, I have one question for you. What does your Have It All plan look like? Thank you. Bye.